There is a kind of grief that I don't think we talk about enough. And it's not necessarily grief because someone died. It's grief because you used to be able to do something that you can't do anymore. And sometimes that something is making money, having money, control over your money, opening your banking account app and seeing an account with your name on it. And I did that. That is mine. I earned that. And I can decide what happens next with it. And if you've ever gone from being financially independent to financially dependent, you know there is a psychological shift that happens there. And sometimes it is not pretty. Sometimes it's humiliating. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's confusing. And sometimes you are pretty resentful because you know what? You think you could do it better. And that is the part I want to talk about today. Welcome back to the show, Grounded and in Full Color, a neurodivergent mom studio for motherhood, overstimulation, and building a life that actually fits your brain. I'm your host, Princess Ebony, who experiences autism and an ADHD brain as a mom of 3 and your favorite neurodivergent big sister on the internet. I miss the woman who had her own money. Actually, at the time, it was more like a girl, young and single. My self-concept was that of a girl, not a woman, but you know what I mean. There was a version of me, period, who had money coming into an account with my name on it. I had a job, I had income, I had expenses, I had responsibilities, and I handled them. I wasn't rich. Let's not rewrite history. But I was functioning, and I had something that feels incredibly valued to me now. Financial agency. I could decide, I could save, I could spend, I could make a mistake, I could recover. I could want something and figure out how to go get it. I could look at a problem and think, okay, what do I need to do? And then I would go do it. There was something incredibly stabilizing about that for me. I didn't realize how much of my nervous system was attached to that feeling until I didn't have it anymore. I have actually done this before. This is why I struggle when people talk about financial independence as though it's some theoretical concept I've never experienced. I know what it feels like, in part and parcel. It wasn't huge. I mean, my rent at the only point in time I was actually paying rent for myself was $125. It was a part of a specialized program. There's no way standardized rent is that low anywhere in the United States of America, like on this planet. But I know what it feels like. There was a period of my life where my housing situation was incredibly affordable because I was, in a program designed to help young adults transition into adulthood. I didn't have any problems. I wasn't in halfway house, not like that. I just had a really great friend who got me a hookup because we were both in college and knew what it was like. Saving money, woo! I had roommates up at the house, and we had a kitchen, a living room, internet, a yard. I was the only one who ever used, which was great to me, but also not great because there were so many mosquitoes down here in the South. Washer and dryer. Oh my God, the whole thing. And my rent was ridiculously low at $125. It was supposed to go up, incrementally until it rose to the level an appropriate level of rent, several $100s, but it never took off because COVID happened. So I had this incredible ability to save, and I did not skimp on that. I was working, I was responsible for my own expenses, and at the time during COVID, my job position was deemed as a necessary or important position, so I didn't qualify for non-employment, but I could still work, I had a pay raise, everything was taking extra shifts, coverings, getting in early, staying late. I was single. I hadn't met my husband yet, didn't meet him during that time. Had no children, so I was hey, my body's working, it's good, let me pump out these extra hours. And I did. And I eventually bought a car too, and I paid it off so early. But I didn't know much about cars, so me paying off the car actually did nothing to help my credit because it was in-house financing. Boo. I wasn't able to do that before my other friends and peers did. And even though they were looking and had been saving for a vehicle much longer than me, I did it quicker. And I remember that. Not because I'm trying to win some weird financial Olympics with my friends or even my husband at the time, but because it proves something important to me. I have evidence that I can manage money. Not to say that I haven't made mistakes, and for some reason, which is why this podcast episode is so much needed, for me, and I know it is for someone else, another mama out there, is that once I didn't have that certain autonomy anymore, it's my wires got crossed with money, and I have made some questionable mistakes in effort, a desperate attempt to get back my autonomy, my financial agency. But I did have evidence that I can be disciplined. I have evidence that I can save. I have evidence that I can make a plan and execute it. And I have evidence that I can be fiscally responsible. So when I'm struggling now, there's a part of me that looks at my current situation and says, what in the world happened to you? Then motherhood changed the question. I stopped working when I became pregnant with our first child, and since then I haven't consistently had any money coming into an account with my name on it. And that has done something to me, because motherhood isn't just I don't have a paycheck. It's also I don't have the same feedback loop that used to tell me I was capable. Before, I could work, I could get paid, I could save, I could buy something, I could pay something off, which I think the only time I ever had to pay something off was my car. I never took on membership, subscriptions, debt, nothing. I should have signed up for credit cards because my credit score could have been boom. So I just managed my money the way that I did without tapping into credit. I could have done it. And I could look at all these numbers on my spreadsheets. I have them. And I could see evidence of my competence. Now, I have a lot of work that I do that is invisible. Parenting, managing the home, planning, cooking, researching, learning, creating, trying businesses, starting projects, building ideas, and some of that work might eventually generate income, something I'm working on now. Definitely will. I speak that into existence. Even though I've made some financial mistakes too, and think that the highest of the high, that we are all right. We are still on solid ground. That's just that right now, no one writes a check to me, Princess Ebony, for doing any of those things. I can't pay by the number of times I've changed diapers. We've actually had to pay for said diapers. But eventually, all that will pay off. And it's a very different emotional experience from seeing a deposit hit your account versus someone telling you, you're doing really great work. It's so important. And I was like, so are the dollar bills to make our life function. At least in this reality, in this time, in this country. But anywho, there is something profoundly validating about money arriving because you did something. And when that disappears, you can start questioning yourself. Because we all know financial dependence is complicated. Because here's the thing. I love my family. I love my husband. I understand that marriage is a partnership. I cannot do it alone. I understand that raising children is work. I understand that unpaid labor has value. I understand all of that intellectually. And yet, I don't like being financially dependent. Both things can be true here. I can appreciate what my husband contributes and still desperately want money of my own. It is as much of an importance to me that my husband's work environment is cushy. Great coworkers, he could chill and vibe. That work best friend thing, I want that for him. Times 3, the commute there, the students he works with, administration, the politicking, not getting on his nerves. And when he comes home, he doesn't feel drained. He has, energy to pour back into our household. He does it regardless. I don't know how the man does it, but he does it regardless. Because he'd be pouring into me. I'm his child number, the extra child he has in plain sight. He does all that. And that is just as important to me as it is also to me, of importance that I get paid for the effort that I put out into this world. I can be grateful for his support, and still feel frustrated about needing it. Sometimes I feel like a freeloader. He says I'm not, and I can remind myself that I'm not in the ways I do add value to the house. But that doesn't pay for laundry detergent or a bag of apples. I can love someone and resent the position I'm in. I'm working through it. This is just the honest language that's coming up. I can trust someone and still want more autonomy. Human beings are gloriously inconvenient that way. We can hold contradictory emotions at the exact same time. You've probably seen it movies and TV shows where I hate you, but I love you too. Or I know you hate him, but also wish I didn't love you. So dramatic. Makes for great rom-coms. And sometimes I resent the person I'm depending on. Not the person, but the role that they are in my life. Now, this is the part I don't want to sanitize because sometimes I do resent, the role of position of my husband, like I said. Sometimes I look at the way he handles something financially and think, I could do this better. Sometimes I think if this were my money, if I were making the decisions, if I had control of the account, if I were responsible for this. And sometimes that thought is accurate. Sometimes it isn't, but the thought exists. And pretending it doesn't would just create another layer of shame. So I'm trying to look at it differently. I'm working through that actively right now, because resentment can contain information, it can, but it doesn't automatically contain truth. That's important. Feeling like I could do something better does not necessarily mean I actually would. I also have experience and evidence that I haven't. but it may tell me something about what I value. Maybe I value autonomy, Ebony. Maybe I value the efficiency, the planning. Maybe I want more say. Maybe I want the security of knowing I can handle something myself. Maybe I'm terrified that I won't be able to. God forbid anything happens to our family. And our children, are they going to end up with me or someone else? I'm not trying to frighten anyone, but just a little bit of a reality check does something for our brains. Don't ask me what it was. I heard it from one of my favorite podcasts called The Happiness Project with Dr. Laurie Santos. When you have those little bit scary thoughts, it does something to your brain. It makes you more grateful for the people in your life and what you do have, which very actively happening right now. Because, I'm angry that I have lost access to a part of myself that I know exists. And that's what I want to focus on here because it's worth investigation. It's the source of my investigation here. The most painful part isn't always the money. Sometimes, and for me very clearly, yes, it is. It's the identity. I don't just want money. I want to experience myself as someone who can generate money. I want to experience myself as someone economically capable. I hope I said that right. I hope you know what I mean too. I want to know that if something happens, I can figure it out and not just positive. I can do this. I can do hard things. No. I'm a parent. I'm an adult. I need to know that I can do this. I want to have options. I want choices. I want to be able to buy something without feeling like I need to mentally prepare a defense attorney's closing argument first. And yes, I want money in an account with my name on it because there's something about that little phrase, my name. It represents ownership, agency, identity, power. Not power over other people. I am so not impressed with that. Power for myself. And neurodivergence makes this more complicated, not impossible, just complicated. Because some of my relationship with money is not simply about money, if you haven't caught the gist yet. There are patterns that show up in my brain and nervous system. Impulsivity, perfectionism, avoidance, freeze, decision paralysis, difficulty transitioning from intention into execution. The tendency to become overwhelmed by a task and then avoid the task because the emotional cost of starting feels enormous. I get stuck in that particular little vortex. My brain thrives joy, stimulation. Key to my happiness when I'm creating something, building something, designing something, and just fall flat on my tush when it comes to implementing and executing it. And then there is the shame, which is particularly nasty of a bug because shame makes the thing you're already struggling with that much harder, more difficult. You avoid looking at the numbers because you feel bad about the numbers. Then you feel worse because you avoided looking at the numbers. Then you avoid it more. And now you've created an entire tiny ecosystem of nonsense, a financial terrarium. Nobody asked for that. Sometimes I don't want more money. I want proof that I can do it. This distinction has been important for me since I became a parent, if not right before. Because I can say I want to make money, but underneath that might be I want proof that I'm still capable. I guess this is similar. Maybe you can draw a similarity between this and what I'm about to say if you have that type of brain. Between when a woman has a baby and they want to get their fine back, their shape back. I'm just I have no desire to for the aesthetics of my body. I want to maintain my flexibility, mobility, because I still want to beat my children at a foot race. I just want proof and more, that motherhood didn't erase me. I want proof that the years I spent trying things weren't meaningless. I want proof that the ideas in my head can become something tangible. I want proof that I can build something. I want proof that I can contribute financially again. I want proof that I can trust myself. And that's a much deeper desire than simply wanting a bigger number in some bank account with my name on it. My failure resume matters here. I've talked about my failure resume before. I've tried a ridiculous number of things. At least dozens of ideas, projects, businesses, experiments, offers, directions, coaching, products, physical products. And for a long time, I interpreted that history of mine as I keep failing. But I'm working to tell a different story here because there's another interpretation. I keep trying. Those are not the same sentences. I have learned things. I have discovered what doesn't fit, what does not move me. Social media is not it. Please don't go looking for me over there anymore. I've learned what drains me. I've learned where I sabotage myself. I've learned where visibility triggers me. I've learned where selling triggers me. I've learned how perfectionism can disguise itself as preparation. You should see my Google Drive. I have learned that sometimes I can build something beautiful and still struggle to consistently sell it or even sell it at all. That's not the same as having no capacity. It means there is still work to do. Work that I am sure to enjoy. I want economic independence without turning myself into a machine of the Matrix. This is where I'm very protective of the phrase soft life, doing real life, doing rich life, because I don't want my answer to financial dependence to be wake up at 4:30 a.m., cold plunge, build a 7-figure business before breakfast, work until your children become adults, never rest, monetize your hobby, every single hobby, turn your personality into a funnel. No, absolutely not. I don't want to exchange one form of dependence for another. I don't want to become financially independent and nervous system bankrupt. I want something different. I want sustainable cash flow. Let me repeat that again. I want sustainable cash flow. I want skills. I want assets. I want ownership. I want options. I want financial control, financial literacy. I want a relationship with money, like the entire energy, the spirit of money, where I can look at her and look at my reality without wanting to crawl under a blanket. I want to build that in a way that actually fits my life. A really wonderful, rich, luscious life. I also have to grieve what I cannot control too. This is the harder part because I can't go backward. I can't go back to the woman I was before motherhood. I can't recreate that exact apartment, that exact job, that exact season, that exact financial reality. And honestly, what it would take to give up or even put on pause to do so is not worth it. I can't pretend I'm 24 with unlimited flexibility and no children. I have a family. I have responsibilities. I have a different nervous system now, a different life, a different set of priorities. So the goal can't be get my old life back. Maybe the goal is, Ebony, build a new version of financial agency that belongs to the woman I am now. That's more of a challenge, but boy, is it a beautiful puzzle because once I figure it out, I'll be able to see a clearer, better picture. And it's also more honest. So I also want to separate resentment from responsibility. I can resent my circumstances and work through that, resenting that this is harder than I thought it would be, needing help, being dependent, and I can even occasionally resent the role of what my husband does. Not who he is, just, you get it if you've been listening to this point. Because resentment cannot be my financial strategy. Oh my God, it cannot. It won't create income. It won't create assets. It won't build skills. It won't repair trust. Oh my goodness. And it will not give me autonomy. It will give me a whole lot of negative stuff, bringing it into my reality at this point. Because at some point, I have to turn toward, okay, what can I actually control? What can I learn? What can I build? What can I simplify? What can I stop doing? What can I finish? What can I offer? What can I own? What can I automate? What can I save? What can I invest? What can I do this week? Boy, does that open up so many opportunities to challenge myself. The stimulation, the joy, and the key to my happiness is right there. Not someday. Not when my life is perfect. Not when my children stop needing me. Now. So, the smallest version of financial agency, I've been thinking about this one a lot. Maybe financial independence doesn't begin when you suddenly make 6 figures, but be on the lookout for me. Wait, I don't know how, because I won't be on social media like that. Maybe it begins much smaller. Maybe it begins when we stop avoiding the numbers, when we know what is coming in, when we know what is going out, when you know what you own, when you know what you owe, when you know what you're building. When you make one financial decision deliberately, when you save the first dollar, when you earn the first dollar, when you make the first dollar from something you created, when you look at that dollar and think, I did that. That's not nothing. That's the beginning of a brand new feedback loop. And yes, I want the account with my name on it. Princess Ebony's a darn spanking good name. I don't want to pretend I don't. I want money coming into an account with my name on it. Not because I don't appreciate my husband or I don't need the man. Oh my goodness. If it's not whatever strange reason things don't work out, I will follow him to the ends of the earth just to be with him. Not because I don't value what he does. Not because marriage isn't a partnership, but because I want economic agency. Because I want something that doesn't diminish what people would automatically view as the natural antithesis to whatever it is I'm saying. I want to know that I can contribute. I want to know that I can create. Give him a break. Let him kick his feet up and I go to work, go build something, or just take us all to a vacation. I want to know that I can earn that. I want to know that I can make decisions. I want to know that if I want something, I have a pathway towards getting it. I want to trust myself again with money. And maybe that's the real thing I'm grieving, not the money itself. The woman I felt like when I had it. The woman who could say, I'll figure it out, and believe herself. So the question I'm sitting with, and I ask you to sit with until next time, is this. Instead of asking ourselves, why can't I make money like I used to? I I'm trying a different question. What would financial agency look like for the woman I am now? Not the old one, not the hypothetical me, not the version of me who has unlimited childcare, unlimited energy, unlimited time, and a perfectly functioning nervous system. Me, now, mother, partner, creator, neurodivergent woman, human being. What does economic independence look like here? And what would I have to build to get there? That's the question. And I don't have the entire answer yet, but I know I don't want to spend the rest of my life grieving the woman who used to have her own money. I want to become the woman who has her own money again. And this time, I want to know exactly why it matters to me. Sometimes financial freedom isn't about becoming rich. Sometimes it's about becoming someone you can rely on. And for me, that's the part I'm trying to get back to. Not the old life, the self-trust. Remember that, mama. And I'll go ahead and talk to you another one.